A mother writes, quote, I took my 2 children, Nora and Kyle, to visit a friend who has 2 kids who are close to them in age. The more I love and teach my children, the more I notice how often other kids are whining or demanding. It's kind of scary to see how many kids are unhappy, like nearly all the kids I know. And if their parents want them to behave, they just bribe them with devices or treats, end quote. Most parents have no idea how to teach their children to be loving and responsible. So the parents eliminate the complaining by simply giving their kids what they want. Well, it works. They believe their children should never be denied any comfort. Huge, colossal mistake. The job of parents is to train children lovingly to be loving and responsible. And all training involves discomfort. In athletic training, for example, you can't increase muscle strength or endurance without some discomfort. And this is true with emotional muscles too. We must stop avoiding discomfort, which is just part of the training. But parents are afraid of their own kids' disapproval, so they keep pacifying the kids with phones, entertainment, and more. But these kids are just spoiled and weak, and parents tend not to pay attention until these kids are suffering way down the road with chronic anxiety, depression, eating disorders, or debilitating addictions to video games or social media. But by that time, solutions are very difficult to implement, sometimes impossible. The mom resumes, my friend's house is filled with screaming and chaos, end quote. I said to Mom, there is so much pain in the world that your friend has come to accept her children's behavior as normal. She thinks, well, all my friends' kids behave this way, so it must be okay. In her defense, your friend simply cannot bear the thought that she might be responsible for her kids' behavior. Almost certainly your friend says to herself, well, I love my kids. I'm doing everything I can, and I can't help it if they're whining and crying and fighting. But she's not taking responsibility for them. She's just treating it like it was a mystery. Mom says, the time came to leave, but when I told my kids, they begged for more time. And their friends whined and physically hung on to Nora, my daughter, to keep her from going. I tried to talk to them, but the older girl of my friend wouldn't let go, end quote. So I said, no surprise. This young girl, your friend's daughter, believes that she's entitled to whatever she wants. She's learned that if she whines and begs, she gets what she wants. She's been trained, essentially, to behave badly. So it's likely that she'll keep doing this all of her life. She'll tend to alienate everyone and end up alone, maybe 2 divorces and 3 kids later. These are natural consequences for breaking universal laws of behavior. Mom said, when I tried to pull the kids apart, her kids, my friend's kids, cried as though I had hit them, and their mother comforted them like I had wounded them. I'm not sure how else I could have handled this. So I said, first, your kids will trust you to teach them far better when they feel loved by you, with no disappointment or irritation. But it takes time and practice to get to that place. Now, in the meantime, while you're learning to love and teach them, they still must be trained how to automatically and immediately respond to you in some situations, for 2 reasons: their safety and their consistency in being responsible. So let's look at safety. Military recruits are trained to obey orders immediately, because in battle, there simply is no time for a kid to say to the sergeant who gives him instructions, let's talk about this. Why is it that I should hit the ground? Because in that brief moment, he'll find a bullet in his brain. Similarly, if you wait until a child is running out into traffic to teach them how to be immediately obedient without hesitation, you're too late, and your child could be dead because you didn't teach them. And I've gotten to see this. You have to practice with your kids to immediately follow certain instructions. You won't always be commanding them, but sometimes commands are important. Choose your own words, but use something unmistakable, like, and simple, here, now. No anger, no disappointment, just here, now. And immediately, they have to come and physically touch you. At that point, it's much easier to take the next steps, like going to the car, stopping an argument, beginning a meal, going to bed. When my kids were young, we would practice this in a park or in the mall or walking in an airport. I would say, kids, here. And they did it right then, without hesitation, no matter what they were in the middle of. It didn't last long. It was just practice, and they just got really used to doing that. And on some occasions, it kept them safe. Explain ahead of time to your kids what you'll be doing, and then practice this with your children. Speak clearly and firmly, loudly enough to be heard, and with no irritation. In the beginning, if they fail to respond immediately, you impose consequences immediately, like requiring them to stay by your side while everybody else is playing, or they sit in the car seat, or whatever you come up with. An immediate consequence, just like a disobedient child in a parking lot can experience the immediate consequence of being dead. The second reason for immediate obedience on occasion is the need for them to be consistent in being responsible. If a child doesn't leave a fun activity when you call, they learn that the world is chaotic, that the world has no rules. They become the god of their own world, and they're not ready for that position. Without you as an anchor, they blow around like leaves in every wind of circumstance. They're not as happy. That's the bottom line, if they're not consistently responsible and learn to be obedient. So next time, you'll firmly say to Nora, the one who's being grabbed by your friend's daughter, Nora, come here now. And when you say Nora, you require her to look at you. She'll come immediately because you will have practiced. And then you'll tell her, go to the door and wait there. It's time to leave. She has to learn that every activity has an end, has a beginning, a middle. It's got to have an end. And the end is your decision. She can have all the fun she wants to for all the rest of the time. But there's an end, and you determine that. We are responsible for the safety and happiness of our children. We can't leave them to figure out life on their own. That's irresponsible on our part. We're also not here to control them. No, we're here to teach them the power of making loving and responsible choices in the midst of a world ruled by pain, fear, victimhood, entitlement, and entertainment. Look around you. All of those distractions steal our children's choices. Children who have not been loved and taught are helpless in the face of an overwhelming onslaught of attention-demanding people and devices. We cannot be satisfied with just housing them and making them comfortable. When we love and teach them, we give them great power in life and the possibility for great happiness. You can learn how to raise powerful children. Go to realloveparents.com and learn how.